Welcome to Paint on Plastic with Linc and Wright. The next step down in the texture intensity scale for me is to add some extra thin glue to the Tamiya Basic Putty to make a kind of slurry of the putty that's still thicker than, say, something like Mr. Surfacer 500. It's very simple to do. Even the first time you do it, you'll be surprised how pro you feel. I'm using a AK Interactive size 2 brush here, and I'm also using some of their new cement, the extra thin in the orange cap, to do it. And dip it in, and away we go. It's pretty easy to judge. As you put your first kind of stabs in with the brush, wet with the glue, you can see that it softens and thins it quite quickly. If you're getting to the stage where it's starting to feel about the texture of a paint or a Mr. Surfacer, then we may as well switch to that technique instead. This looks about right to me. Let's call it roughly a 50-50 mix with a consistency, say, halfway between Tamiya Basic Putty and Mr. Surfacer 500. This is perfect for what we want here, which is an interim step between the harshest effects on the easier to reach surfaces of the Mark 44 main hull and the detail spaces in between, where we still want some texture. In addition, the cool thing about using the glue is it then reactivates the first step heavy texture, allows it to be reworked slightly and then blended in with the new texture. Cool, right? Please remember to have fun and enjoy this. We can't really get it wrong, and even if we feel it's been totally ruined, the effects can be sanded back or even completely off. So let's relax and get stuck in. Here's an area where this technique shines compared with the finger, smaller details. Yes, we are working with a relatively large scale of 1 in 20, which feels huge compared with our tank buddies working in 135, so we can take a little more care here to preserve the wonderful detail areas of the kit. You'll also notice that I have a little more glue mixed in here, and it's a smoother mix than before, so as to make sure it blends with the first stage and does not obscure detail as it dries. Last thing, I like to do a series of very quick rounds to try and pick up any wet spots to create more randomized armor patterns in the texture. We can think of this as a kind of pre-weathering plus battle damage simulation, which we can then pick out during our paint steps. We might even be able to make some happy little trees in here and maybe even give them a friend or two. Yeah, I said it. Oh, and one more bonus tip to keep in mind is that although you may see me work very quickly, you don't need to do this in a hurry at all. It's fine for a start-stop work approach, and you can always set it down, take a break, and come back with fresh eyes, and add more like I'm doing here. The power of coffee cannot be underestimated in my workshop.